Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Nine and Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across this video where this great man was talking about Black and POC solidarity and other groups, And the truth is that I do not believe in allyship. I have been saying that there is nothing like POC solidarity because it has not been working and it has never worked, right? I am going to say this to Black people. Black people, you all are all you've got. And the best you can do is to work so hard among the community and keep organizing to keep everybody stable, encouraged, uplifted, and all that. For allies, there ain't anything like allies, right? That is it. The stereotypes and all that they have about Black people, it's something I cannot even start talking because you all already know. It's not like it is something new that you do not know. You all know all that. And not until they are ready and willing to work on themselves, right? That is the only thing. The reality is that a majority of them feel like their skin, got them covered, or for that reason, they have, superiority, like they are superior to people that look like me, not knowing that they are being used as pawns against themselves. Because tell me the reason why they were convinced to vote for who they voted for, and now they are in pains. Let's get into this video.
Been any kind of solidarity between the Black community and other groups. That has always been a fallacy. There is also no such thing as allyship. Black folks, we only have each other, and that's it. That's what this last election proved. Do you want to know the bottom line reason why Kamala Harris did not win the election? It is because she is a Black woman. And anti-blackness is global, y'all. It's not just here in the United States. And why is that? Think about it. This country, ever since the beginning, has disseminated horrible racist stereotypes about us. And those stereotypes have traveled around the world and influenced the way that other people, other cultures view us. Think about it. Now, just in the past 100 or so years that Hollywood has been in existence, there has been so many racist stereotypes disseminated about African Americans, that we are dumb, unintelligent, lazy, shiftless, that we have a pathological criminality, that we're hyperviolent, that our Black women are oversexed, that Jezebel stereotype, and also, thanks to Ronald Reagan, that welfare queen lie, that we don't contribute anything to society. That's an obvious lie, since everybody wants to appropriate the culture that we create, from music to art to even scientific inventions and breakthroughs. But see, a lot of this is not taught. That's why they want to ban books here and suppress real history and rewrite it. I even hate when I hear those of us who say, we're not our ancestors. Do you all not know that even when the transatlantic slave trade began, our ancestors fought every step of the way? There are records of them having uprisings on those slaver boats, either taking the boats over, or they would kill the crew and they would jump overboard into the sea instead of facing a life of enslavement. And our ancestors that made it to these shores, they fought every step of the way. This idea that we were complacent and docile in the fields. You remember when Kanye West said, well, slavery was a choice. Fuck him, by the way. Our ancestors fought, y'all. There were slave uprisings on those plantations left and right. They don't tell you about the slave. They don't tell you about the slave enslavers who were poisoned by the enslaved, and the revolts that constantly happen. That's why we need to study real history. So all of those stereotypes and those lies about us have just made it around the world a couple of hundred times. And folks believe that. They have that in their head when they hear in other countries, African America, they have an idea of who and what we are, and it is far from reality. Many of you all won't like this, but the truth is that in many countries in Africa, they believe those lies. I believe it was Ghana a couple of years ago that had that media blitz about return home that was directed toward African Americans. And unfortunately, I've heard from quite a few that went over there. And what they discovered was that they were the targets of overcharging, scams, cons. I'm not saying everyone, but I'm just saying that you have to be careful if you decide to move to another country, even one that is in the mother continent of Africa. You need to do your research, and you need to make sure that you have reliable, trusted connections that can help you with any move anywhere overseas, even Africa. So it is not really surprising that every other group thinks that they are superior to us. Whether it be Latinos, whether it be Arab Americans, Asian Americans. A dear friend of mine who was unalived directly due to COVID, when we were in college, he was in the Naval Reserves. So he went all over the world. And he said, Rod, it is wild how many people across cultures believe that we are the lowest on the totem pole. And so that plays itself out in anti-blackness that comes at us not only here in the United States, but from everywhere. We do not have any type of solidarity with any other group. Now, they will call on us because we have had to fight for equal rights and civil rights and everything else, and the fight continues, and they know that. So they will call upon us to march with them and protest with them when they are fighting for their rights. But if you notice, there is no reciprocity whatsoever. And so we need to get that in our heads, that we only have each other, black men and black women. That's it, y'all. And the sooner that in our community we understand that, then we know exactly what the playing field looks like, and we can move forward with intention, protecting our own and looking out for our own best interests, because trust, no one else is going to. Y'all be careful out here.
I don't have the vocabulary right now to fully articulate this and say this the way that I want to, but it's getting very difficult right now with everything that's going on in the States to be in community with white people. And I say this as someone who, like, from the time I was born has been facing violent levels of racism my entire life across communities as well. Like, we don't even need to bring up how there's zero POC solidarity, and that was shown during this election. So I'm gonna sit this one out. Sorry, I'm like vacationing in Mexico right now, but I cannot stop paying attention to what's going on. And I just have to say, at some point, at what point exactly are we allowed to say, are we allowed to create some level of distance between interacting and being in community with these people? I actually think it's deranged that at no point in time during everything that's happened, whether it was the Civil Rights Act or continuously voting for Trump or like the generations of racial trauma that has happened, we are expected to have and hold community with white people. Even being here in like Mexico, I'm like traveling a lot with a ton of travelers, and like the way people interact with me, I don't wake up in the morning and think to myself, I'm a black woman. I'm constantly reminded of this by the way that people interact with me. My last job position that I just quit and like moved, which gave me like an amazing opportunity because now I'm moving to New York in like a great role. My like immigration, my citizenship was questioned. I was told to go back to my country several different times, like by white people. And I'm always expected to hold this mentality of being open to any and everyone. But like the world doesn't even give us that level of grace. I've been watching like the Real Housewives for some weird reason. Listen, it's just been like my shitty trash reality TV vice. And like even seeing the way that Black characters on that show are constantly treated, or like the way that colorism affects different members of that franchise. Like, I don't have the words to properly articulate this right now. I'm just word vomiting. But like, at what point do I say, like, actually, I do not want to know you. I do not want to be friends with you. Because if I said it once, I said it 100 times. If it's not them as a white person, it's someone in their circle, it's a friend that they know, it's their boyfriend, it's their mom. And at the end of the day, that is their tribe. So they will let you face passive aggressive, racist ass abuse. I have like outworked, out-accomplished so many of these people's like white parents, children, and they still have the nerve to question my accomplishments, my credibility, my walk in life simply because of the color of my skin when their child is still living in their home degreeless and jobless. All because of the color of my skin. Like, at what point do I say, I no longer want to talk to you? I no longer want to be in community with you. Oh, I don't know. I think what's more damaging, or like what's worse, is actually the level of gaslighting. Because they will throw all these dog whistles at you and then sit there and be like, well, God, I was just asking a question. Or, no, you're not actually facing racism. They're like, I want us to acknowledge the covert narcissism that goes into every single day racism. And it happens in blue states. Like, there's no safety for you. You cannot run away from it. Like, I think one of the most damning things about turning 24 in October last year was that no matter where I go or what I do, I cannot run away from being Black. And it is not a demonizing thing. It's not a demonizing quality. It just gives people some level of like superiority to bring you down, and they find solace and community in doing it. And I remember like I was in a blue state. Like, I moved to Seattle, Washington for a little bit. PNW like racism is so weird because it's very covert, and they think just living in a blue state like absolves them of any type of racial accountability. But the first time in years that I've been called an N-word with a hard R was there. I'm actually like simply exhausted, and I continuously ask myself, like, how much more am I supposed to tolerate before I get to a point where I say, actually, 3 years ago, someone walked into a grocery store and live streamed themselves shooting only the Black people and released a manifesto about it. Someone walked into a Black church and shot them up and released a manifesto about it. There's sundown towns that still exist. There's violent levels of racism that if you look up the pyramid of harm, or the hierarchy of harm, always starts off at little Black kids being targeted in school by racist ass discrimination and jokes that even the teachers facilitate and allow to happen. Like, at what point? I think being Black is just like the lack of protection at every cornerstone of your life. Like, that is what you're facing. And at some point, like, I think at this point, I'm doing my absolute fucking best. Not even anymore. I'm like about ready to give up, but I'm doing my absolute best to not get to a point where I throw my hands up in the air and say, I do not want to be in community with you. Yeah. Last thing. I've been seeing people like who've been part of the election, like even on LinkedIn, on posts, like they're like, guys, you know, you need to accept ideologies from across the political spectrum. I want those people to choke on a dick. That I'm not even gonna like go further than.
It's not my intention to be divisive, but if I am being honest, I have some core feelings towards white people that I probably need to work through. And as a person of color, I very much understand racism and prejudice and how it impacts a person. I grew up in the South. I grew up around white people calling me the N-word. And it's not even just about what has happened in the South. When I look at this planet, sometimes, some time ago, I was trying to figure out, how do we quantify how much has been lost? What Europeans, what white people have done is they came in and they got to put a pause, they got to put a stop on everything. And whatever they stopped, they said, this is where it now starts with us. And because of that, do you know how much we have lost? We can't even fathom how much has been lost. If we could even fathom a fraction of it, we would be weeping. Who was it that they said decided that the planets revolved around the sun? Was it Copernicus? There were people on the continent of Africa who understood the stars and timing before they said Copernicus did. There are things that we're starting to say, oh, we're telepathic, or we can read each other's minds, or we can't measure this thing, but it's just as real, it's just as credible. Do you know how much time has been lost? These things have been true for centuries. But because a certain demographic of people came in and said, we don't understand that, we're going to call you barbaric. And we're going to stick a pin in where we are today, and everything before today no longer existed, or we're going to call it barbaric, or we're going to start over from now. Do you know how much time has been lost in the scope of human history because a certain demographic of people came in and said, nope, toss that out? There are certain cultures in West Africa, when a woman is pregnant, elders will come and put their hand on the woman's belly, and they know the ancestor who is returning, they know the gender, and they know the purpose of that baby. Now what we're left with is you go to a doctor's office, they put a cold ass cream on your belly, and they print out a picture for you and say you're having a boy or a girl. Just like that entire experience is filtered down to nothingness, imagine how many other things in the world have been filtered down to nothingness because brute, violent people who did not have a spiritual connection came along and saw other people with a spiritual connection and said, nope, that's barbaric, that's not real, put an end to that. And now we're going to reinvent what is true. But their reinvention could never measure up to the realness of what people of color and our ancestors have known for so long. This isn't just Black people from the continent of Africa. This also includes Asians. This includes people in South America. So much has been lost. If we could measure it, if we could say, okay, if we could take back everything that has been taken away or lost, and we envisioned where humanity could be, and then we looked at where we are now, we would crash the fuck out.
So this is all I got from this video. You can actually hear how burdened they sound, and that is how they feel, and they are voicing it. The reality is that when I first started this channel 3 years ago, if I am not mistaken, I was so big on solidarity, and I am still big on solidarity, right? Because they really do know how strong and powerful everybody will be if they decide that it is time to make things right. Why am I saying this? Is because Black people have always been ready for every other person, right? Black people have been doing the work for them without even them knowing it or without even them joining. And it has always been Black people doing the job, right? Fighting for every other person. I do not even, with everything going on, the DEI and all that, I do not even see any of them coming out to say, how do you make this right? We say anything, we are speaking on themselves, But the reality is that I am sure Black people ain't coming out till after 4 years. And to tell you how bad this administration is going to be is that the Congress, the Republicans are already working on making the tenure, making it 3 tenures. Meaning one person will have to serve for 3 terms. Are they okay? So he actually said it before the election that you are going to vote and I will make you not to vote again. You all don't take, does it mean that you all don't take records, or you all some certain things do not click on your brain and all that? It's really amazing. So for this BIPOC or POC solidarity, it is not something that I am even preaching, because I cannot even preach it to you people. I cannot. When they decided that it is time for them to make things right, they definitely will come out. But for now, there is nothing like that, because these people think they are better. Because if you are not acting that you are better, why would you do what you did? All of you, including Asians. I know Asians are lying down low. I know we've been roasting. We've been roasting Latinos, or maybe I have been roasting Latinos all this while. Asians have been on lots, and some of them run out of the internet. I have not been seeing them. Cheng and the rest, I have not been seeing them. And some white women that's told us that they are voting for, I have not been seeing their posts. Mama Todd and the rest of them, I have not been seeing them. That also tells you a lot about them. So for solidarity, till you all are ready. Black people have always been ready, and they are born ready. When you all are ready, they definitely will know. And sincerely speaking, I really feel bad for the encounters some of people that look like me encounter, like the experiences with some of this, and some of the people also that also want to be white, because they think proximity to whiteness makes them also white. And some of them are also white persons. So for that reason, they fit into whatever you call it. And for that reason, they can do you whatever they want. It is just crazy how they are being used as pawns against themselves. Because tell me one reason, I will not get over it. For anybody that will tell me get over it and move on, I cannot get over it, because I am still looking for answer. I am still trying to know why you people woke up and decided to hurt yourselves, because you all thought it was black people you were gonna hurt. Black people have been hurt several times. Did they die? Of course they did not die. They are still waxing stronger. And you all thought, man, let's pull this. And you pulled it. And it backfired. And you all are looking for people to speak. Who will speak up? With which voice? Huh? Which voice? And the worst part is that I do not even see them speaking. You see, some of you all are amazing. I'm very, very weird. I do not see them, especially the influential, like, all these celebrities or influential people talking on it, or like trying to, like, give advice to their own people on how to. I do not see them speaking on it. That also tells you a lot. But yeah, celebrities will always be celebrities. But that is none of my business, because my people are not being deported, except the ones that you all like, because it is their votes that is making other people, like, let's say some migrants and all that, maybe Haitians and all the rest of them, to be deported. It is also because of them. But the majority of the people so far that are being deported are Latinos so far. Whew. BIPOC or POC solidarity, black people, you are all you have got. Not until you all know this. I am not saying that there are no good Asians or no good Latinos. Of course, there are, right? There are good ones. But for now, there ain't anything like coming together or solidarity or this. Not until you all mean it. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.